Hi again, everyone. Because of COVID, I was not able to have a launch for my fifth book, The Loyalist Daughter. And I thought it would be kind of nice at this launch that we just had last week if I did a reading from The Loyalist Daughter. Now, for those of you that have read the Loyalist trilogy, don't worry. This is a prequel, but it can be read afterwards just as easily as before. It's about Lucinda when she's about 14 years old at the beginning of the book, and her parents are thinking of getting her married off. They live in Boston. It's the early 1770s, just before the outbreak of the American Revolutionary War. Of course, the British are beset upon by the Patriots, as they were often called, who ultimately, of course, won that war. So Lucinda's family is caught up in it. And Lucinda goes to confront her fiance about a particular incident. "You know what has happened. Father is lying in the doctor's surgery, unconscious." She pointed her finger at him. "All at your behest." Henry's face lost its color. He took a step backward. His mouth opened and closed again. He looked away and then turned back to face Lucinda again. "Ha ha, you have nothing to say in your defense." She straightened her bonnet and made to step past Henry. "Lucinda, what happened to your father? You cannot think I had anything to do with whatever has befallen him." He reached for her arm, but she wrenched out of his grasp. "Lucinda, please, tell me exactly what has happened to your father." She turned back. "What have you to say?" "Sit and tell me, please." He led her to the nearest chair and sat at her side. Lucinda was actually glad to sit after all the events of the last couple of hours. Her high-button boots were not made for all of this running about. She glanced at the window and saw that darkness was descending. She must get home to her mother. "Tell me, and hurry. I must get back." "You have not told me what happened to your father. Let us start with that." He was walking home and someone attacked him. His head was all bloody and he passed out on the walkway. Luckily, people saw what happened and chased the thugs away before they could do more damage. Mother and I went to find him. He was late to dinner. And we went with him in the wagon to find the surgeon. He is there now. She turned to Henry. Her voice was low. "And it is all your fault." Henry reached for her hand, and she almost allowed him to hold it, but at the very last second, yanked it out of his grasp. "Do not touch me." She could feel her anger rising again. "I must go. Explain yourself, and I will leave." Henry sat back and took a deep breath. He did not look at her, but instead studied his twisting hands in his lap. Finally, he spoke. "Your father has been very unkind to me. He visited my home and told Do not put the blame on him." "He made charges against me that are not true. He saw you with his own eyes. You have been lying to me, Henry Stevenson, and I am through with you. This engagement is off. The wedding will never happen." She jumped to her feet. "If I never see you again, I will be most pleased." "Wait, let me tell you." He stood beside her now and told her he thought their future lay in siding with the Sons of Liberty. He even admitted that he had talked to those in the printing shop when they met at the local pub. He had told them her father was a Tory. He supposed he wanted to look important in their eyes. He reached again to touch Lucinda's arm, but she yanked it away. "Do not touch me ever again." She ran to the hallway and out the door, leaving it wide open behind her. Into the soft falling rain she plunged, neither knowing nor caring what might happen as she raced away in the darkness. He called to her several times, but each time with less intensity until she heard him no more. Alone, she slowed her running feet to catch her breath and began to notice her surroundings. The homes were small and dark, with nary a candle to brighten them. She had crossed into a part of Boston that she and her father always avoided on their walks. Her hand holding her hat on her head, she began to run again. She was thankful for the rain. She met no one in the streets and breathed easier once she was on her own street. Her mother was at the door, peering out into the wet night. Lucinda ran into her open arms and burst into tears.